Hello, you guys. So, this is not the next video that I have wanted to do, but um, I listened to a video probably about a week ago. This particular dream has been on my mind ever since the roll up your sleever came out. Um, we already knew, most of us knew that would be the goal when this whole thing started and it being worldwide. And we all know that the ultimate goal is to, even when it comes to the fake roll up your sleever cards, okay, being produced, we all know that ultimately they're going to want to digitize it, okay? And that's the precursor, okay, to the mark. But I listened to a video and it must have been taken down. I'm not sure why, because he was just, giving some information. I don't remember the name of the channel, but it's not in my history. So perhaps it's been taken down. I'm sub to that person. So if I see that person make another video, I'll try to put it in my community. But he was talking and he was saying, which I've heard and I know, but for him to say it, he said, you guys are just I don't want to say it like this. Anybody who wants to do the roll up your sleever despite any advice that you receive, I always say it's according to your faith and how you believe the Lord will keep you, whether or not you have pre-existing health conditions or whatever. But when it comes to, I personally and others are looking at it from a standpoint of eschatology and so on and so forth, okay? And how the end result, even though the mark is not for us, okay, how it may lead the unsaved family members to think, to accept if they're not saved and if they're still here. The influence, this is the pre-setup for it, okay? So anyway, if him just saying it, and I feel like maybe he said they've experimented on monkeys or whatever, which I don't know. Maybe it's been lab rats too. Maybe he said monkeys. It reminded me of this dream. And he was saying how those who have taken it are basically walking experiments because we don't know. That type of process usually takes 10 years, correct? Which is true, But when he said it, it reminded me of how this has kind of been on my mind. I had a dream that I was looking out the window and it was these thick blinds. I don't know what they call them, coastal blinds or hurricane blinds or whatever. They're very similar to what I have now here in this place. And there was two African, either two African or two African descent. That's the only way I knew how to describe them, even when I was telling the story. Two African men or two African Americans or of African descent. They were outside, two of them outside of this window through these blinds that I was looking out. And the blinds were kind of closed. They were closed, but it was enough for me to see. They were a little bit open, okay? So I could peep out the window and actually still see through them. They were climbing a tree like monkeys. They were acting like monkeys, okay? They were humans, but they were acting like monkeys. And I was thinking to myself in the dream, I can't go out there, man. I can't go out there, man. These two men acting like monkeys, And then the dream ended, and I'm talking about here in this video how the next day after the dream, my coworker had me sit down to these same type of blinds, and they were closed partially, just like in the dream. And she took a picture. She was trying to test out this camera, and she said she would send me. When I sat down in the lobby area, which is for guests or clients, we never sit down in that area because it's for clients to sit. But I just sat there for her to take my picture. And when I sat down by the blinds and saw how they were partially opened, it reminded me of the dream I had the night before. And she said she was going to send me the pictures of what she took. And the pictures that she took was, she sent me the test pictures of me. And then she sent another picture of her son, who's African American, standing under a tree. Okay? So anyway, that's what happened in real life, but the dream led me to look up the Tuskegee Airmen trials. I'm not sure if it dropped in my spirit because it's not something that I had even thought about, or I just thought about monkeys and testing, and I don't know if it was dropped in my spirit. It wasn't something that I had even learned since the 8th grade. And I just remember back then that was the first thing that I looked up. And I don't know if it's the way the Lord gave me the dream, or he, like I said, maybe he dropped it in my spirit to seek that out. So with the guy who made the video, and with me going back to look at, I found the first article on the Tuskegee Airmen trials. It read very similar to what I believe is happening right now. And as I read this article, it also reminded me, I've already made a video of it, of how the lady from the alphabet that starts with a C and ends with a C, she was a client. She was one of the two most tense people I've ever laid my hands on. How she told me that basically it's all about collecting data, whether it's, tracking diseases or medications and how they work, or different geographical areas of who lives in this area, kind of like how crack was in the 80s. And she told me that's how it works. It's all based on statistics. It's going as far back as the DARE program. And you would think, when she came to my mind, I was like, why is she talking about the DARE program? How did she know it's based on the districts that offered it and who ended up on drugs, even with the DARE program, drug and alcohol resistance education program? You guys may remember it from back in the 80s. I think Ronald Reagan's wife, Nancy, was the spearhead for that move back then. I think that's also when one of the alphabet gangs pit crack on the streets too. So it's all about data collection. This is what I remembered. Again, I've already made a video on it, but this is exactly what she said. You don't have to go back and watch it. I'm going to read this article, and I'm going to leave it below. It really makes you think if you even considering it. Okay? Not about race. Okay, you guys, forget the race. We're talking about the human race right now. The agenda to depopulate the human race. Forget about the color. This was 3 years ago. This is why I've always thought about this dream. Even when it comes, you don't have to ask me if I'm going to take it. I'm not going to take it. But if I had even considered it, that particular dream would have made me not. Okay? Okay? That was my answer from the Lord. Personally. You don't have to take my word for it. You do what you do according to your faith. And for those that have loved ones that have already taken it, or you yourself have taken it, I believe the Lord will keep us. Okay, we're believers. Nothing can pluck us out of our hands. Again, I believe it's a precursor, but I don't think. Just pray over yourself. Okay, I have my best friend took it. My other good friend, her husband took it, and what they are experiencing. One thing was fogginess. I feel like their personality was kind of off, like bipolar for a couple days, like some real things that they themselves and I attribute to it. Okay, so I just was shocked that my friend took it because she told me she wasn't. But anyway, Tuskegee experiment, the infamous syphilis study. In order to track the disease's full progression, researchers provided no effective care as the study's African American participants experienced severe health problems, including blindness, mental impairment, or death. The Tuskegee experiment began in 1932 at a time where there was no known treatment for syphilis, a contagious venereal disease. After being recruited by the promise of free medical care, 600 African American men in Macon County, Alabama, were enrolled in the project, which aimed to study, not treat, which aimed to study the full progression of the disease. The participants were primarily sharecroppers, and many had never visited a doctor before. Doctors from the U.S. Public Health Service, which was running the study, informed the participants 399 men with latent syphilis and a control group of 201 others were free of the disease. They were being treated for blood, a term commonly used in the area at the time to refer to a variety of ailments. With that being said, a lot of people believe it. Yes, it is true. It is a thing. But is it as bad as the first variation? Was it as bad as they were making it? The variants might be, the mutations of it might be. But the first one, a lot of people believe, was very common as the common cold. Okay? But already the push for the roll up your sleever was already being mentioned. And those that could see, have eyes to see, could see that's where it was going. The men were monitored. That's what the lady told me from the other alphabet gang. The men were monitored by health workers, but only given placebos such as aspirin and mineral supplements, despite the fact that penicillin became the recommended treatment for syphilis in 1947, some 15 years into the study. PHS researchers convinced local physicians in Macon County not to treat the participants, and instead research was done at the Tuskegee Institute. In order to track, just like that lady said, in order to track the disease's full progression, researchers provided no effective care as the men died, went blind, or insane, or experienced other severe health problems due to their untreated syphilis. In the mid-1960s, a PHS venereal disease investigator in San Francisco named Peter Buxton found out about the Tuskegee study and expressed his concerns to his superiors that it was unethical. In response, PHS officials formed a committee to review the study, but ultimately opted to continue with it. Okay, with the goal of tracking the participants until all had died. Autopsies were performed and project data could be analyzed. The story was leaked, so on and so forth, and you could see what happened to those participants and their children. Also, when I found this story, I feel like I found a story about a famous black person, woman, that her cancer cells have been removed to her cells have been removed to ultimately help find a cure for cancer, and they are still being used or something, or they were the the starting point for the development of what they call cancer research or whatever. I think it was cancer, which I believe they have a cure for all this stuff. Okay, and if not, I don't want to get off subject. Just pray, ask the Lord, genuinely seek the Lord if you're considering it. Okay, I can only tell you what I can tell you. I'm just very surprised. I talk about it with people all the time. Surprised how many saints are trusting in science. A Call for Uprising always talks about it, okay? How we have been conditioned to trust the scientists, trust the men in the white coats, and not think on our own, about our own care. Okay, I know things like natural remedies are popular now, this and that and the third. But we have been conditioned as a society, trust the teacher, trust the guidance counselor, trust the, and then when things go wrong, people are looking at you crazy, like these are respected and educated people, Why don't you trust their word? We have been conditioned as a society, okay? That's it. I will check comments later on. I just wanted to share that information with you guys. Pray for those who have, pray over their minds and their bodies, that these things don't have the effect that I have been hearing on a lot of people. And some people have had it worse than just some brain fog. And now I did share a video, but it got taken down. I got a warning for it. Maybe I'll leave that particular video below. Okay, how late now is the Pfizer, I think, is going to try the kids. Okay, they're going to try the kids. And one lady was saying they don't even get, only 260 of them worldwide had passed from it. Okay, and that was with other issues. They haven't all been confirmed to not have other issues. They just had it. So it was treated as a C death. We all know how that went too last year. Okay? Love you guys. Please pray and ask the Lord yourself. And like I said, it's according to your measure of faith. And if you feel like, oh, I got this underlying thing and I have to, da-da-da-da-da, pray, ask the Lord, wait for his answer. And again, it's according to your faith. It's according to your faith. Can't tell anybody what to do, but this is my advice. All right, you guys, it makes sense. We are the experiments. If you take it, it's been developed in 1 year, less than that. Love you guys. Talk with you later.